Test.
It's showtime, folks. It's draft lottery time, folks. Welcome in here to ESPN 1025 The Game. Chase McCabe with you alongside the TV voice of the Predators, Willie Donick, and the radio and TV analyst for the Predators, Hal Gill. We're live at Brewhouse South in Cool Springs, and tonight we will find out the fate of the Predators and where they will pick in this year's draft lottery. Gentlemen, good evening. How you doing?
Fantastic.
Feeling good?
You know what? It's on a down year. There's a bright spot at the end.
There is.
Like that's what we got to look at, and so we're here to break it down and see where we end up.
Willie D, you feeling good? You feeling positive? Look, I will say this. Sean Henry handed me this today. For those of you watching on the stream, the Lucky Rabbit's Foot. So I'm representing the table here.
Rub it.
I mean, we're feeling good about it. Let's get that number one pick, because then you have all the control in the world.
Yeah, I think it's tough when you have to hope for something as an athlete. It's like I want to make something happen and change it with my work ethic and my abilities and my skills, and we're just sitting here going, "Come on, ball, go!"
Go ball,
Come
go.
on for the ping pong balls.
Yeah, pop our way, and so that's a tough thing to handle, but you got to make the best of it. I do appreciate that they do that, because there's nothing worse than tanking. How many times did we hear Trotzy talk about we're not tanking, we're not about that. You want to play, and you want to feel good about what you do, and so I don't like the tanking, but here we are with banking on ping pong balls.
The chairman of the board, David Reed, is back at the studio, and I know Parker Kelly's there as well. They're going to alert us whenever the ping pong ball starts bouncing for the number one pick. And as you heard in David's update, the Predators have an 11% chance of getting that number one pick. So you're telling me there's a chance that they can get it. If they end up with the top three, I'll feel good about it. I mean, obviously we want that number one overall pick, but top three, I think you can get a really good player that can help this team right now.
Well, let's go over the numbers, because just in case people don't know, it's a little deceiving, because I thought, well, surely they'll hold at least in the top three, but actually position number three is the least likely of the five positions. There's actually a 30% chance that they'll get 1, 2, or 3, and closer to 70% chance that they get 4 or 5 and move down. So keep rubbing that rabbit's foot there. But I think just staying in the top three would be really good, especially studying some of the guys that are coming into the draft.
Yeah, and this is a different draft. I mean, remember some of the drafts fail for nail. And, McDavid is popping up, and it was Hall Tyler versus Taylor, like Sagan versus Hall, right? Like there's always a big story. And this year I feel like there's 3-4 guys that are going to impact the NHL in a big way. And so I don't think one is necessarily the end all be all, but I think top three is huge.
It will be. I mean, because you get a guy that I think can help you right now. And, we'll look at some of these prospects as we go along tonight here on the show. But again, ESPN will be showing everything and showing draft parties and of different teams. All I know is I think I speak for everybody in Smashville when I say anyone but Chicago.
Well, yeah,
no
question. They've had their share of luck. The Predators historically are due to hit one of these, because every time they've had any type of lottery, and there have been a couple that you can remember, the Sidney Crosby lottery after the season-long lockout, which the Penguins obviously won. It changed the whole course of their franchise. It maybe, you could argue, maybe saved their franchise, where everybody had the same chance. There was no odds. All 32 teams, or however many there were at the time, got thrown into the same hat. And then after the bubble, they had the 12 teams that were eliminated, either didn't make the postseason or lost in the qualifying round, had the same chance for the first pick. Predators didn't win that. And then, of course, there was the very first draft they were ever in, 1998. They didn't win that. So I feel like they're due for a little bit of luck here.
I'm finding some good luck connections. So I have all the times that one city has had the number one overall pick in two different sports in the same year. So the Titans just had it in the NFL draft. 2008, Willie, let's see how good you are. The Tampa Bay Rays have the number 1 overall pick. Who did they take?
The Rays?
The Rays.
Delman Young?
Tim Beckham.
Tim Beckham. Oh, yeah, even worse.
The Tampa Bay Lightning have the number 1 overall pick. Who did they take?
Who is that?
Mr. Stamkos.
Steven
that
Stamkos.
was Stamkos. Yeah.
So there's a connection there.
Oh, so same city. Okay.
It's happened.
So with the Titans and the Preds, I get the game now.
Okay.
1966.
Didn't even ask me. I don't know that stuff. I can't give you that stuff.
Okay.
1966, your Mets have the number 1 overall pick.
Oh gosh, Steve Chilcutt.
Yeah. Good job.
Never made the majors.
The Knicks have the number 1 overall pick.
Is that Bill Bradley?
No.
Dave DeBusschere, Willis Reed.
Cassie Russell.
Cassie Russell. Man, I was just going down their whole list of players from those teams.
So
they ended up winning 2 titles with those guys.
Yes, just to name a few, it has happened. So we're very hopeful that it's going to happen here in Nashville. So they're kind of building up, showing some of the prospects right now on ESPN. Real quick, I'll get both of your thoughts. Barry Trotz made his end of season press conference today. He did make it known Andrew Brunette would return as the head coach. He said as of now, everybody's back on the coaching staff, but he left himself open to make some room there, make some changes there with assistant coaches. But Hal, I'll start with you. Your thoughts on some of the things Barry Trotz had to say today.
Yeah, well, I think Trotz says a lot of things, so you have to sift through what, and sometimes I think I know he's doing that now, is he's bouncing a lot of things around, and he's trying to make decisions, and he wants to be informed, and he wants to be thorough. The big thing is I do think there needs to be a change. There's got to be a change, and whether that's personnel, mindset, coming into training camp. Training camp was a bad training camp this year. That needs to change. Certainly, the players' buy-in needs to change. Now he's got to find out if that's through coaching. Is that through just the way they do things? Is it adjustments from Andrew Brunette? There's a lot of things that need to be broken down, and then there could be a lot of changes. Don't forget, there's a lot of draft picks that he has that he can use, and he could strengthen his draft capital tonight with a good draw, and change more things. There's restricted free agent offer sheets,
right?
That I think has to be part of his with the spots that he has in the drafts that he has. He's got to use those. I think, or at least offer them.
Yeah, he didn't say anything today specifically about restricted free agents, but he did mention that hockey trades, and I would put restricted free agency in that category to agree, because you're giving up draft capital. But he mentioned specifically, we have a lot of draft capital. We don't necessarily need to use it all on drafting the players. We have a lot of prospects coming through the system. And he also said specifically that unrestricted free agency this year, it doesn't look like it's a deep crop of players that could really be difference makers. So you have to be calculated in how you go to free agency.
And the ones that you're going to want are the ones you're going to have to overpay for. Like that, the days of getting bargain on free agency that's over. But
cap's going up a lot. People have more money to spend.
Yeah, you have more money to spend. You're going to have to overpay. But I think, and every time I listen to Barry Trotz, I think he's got a mindset that he could change at any moment. And I don't think he has a team that you could fail on. I think they're going to be better just by sheer chance.
Yes.
You could do the same thing, and they're going to be a better team. They have the personnel.
I think that's very reasonable. The question becomes how much better, and is it reasonable to come back and be what everybody expects in this city, and that's due to the success of long term, and that's being a playoff team. That's 28 points or so is roughly what you got to do. You got to be 25 to 30 points better than you were last year. So
I personally think Willie, I think they could get there without doing anything, just because.
Well, he's banking on that
because the game is going to change. What he has to do is determine, does he bring in younger guys because he's looking at it as another year, it's an off year, and does he bring these young guys up, or is he going to wait on it? Oh, ball
All right,
just
We got
dropped.
some ping pong balls dropping.
I think some ping pong balls are about to drop. So, David, do we have
Giggity.
that?
Am I going to giggle every time you say that?
Well, there are 14 ping pong balls.
Yes.
A lot of people think
So
there are
they're-
thousands of ping pong balls. There's only 14.
So they're loading them in.
Number
right
7
now.
just got
14 balls numbered 1 through 14.
Yeah.
5. We'll draw 4 balls in each drawing. 6. 7. The order is irrelevant, so if they come out 3, 2, 4, 1, the winning combination 1, 2, 3, 4. 1,001 possible combinations.
9.
Is this a paid position, the ball dropper?
I guess. I don't
It's a
know.
very
This is
important
official.
position.
It is.
If we get 11, 12, 13, 14,
Now,
11.
that will be a
if you're
draw.
if you're listening and you're seeing, you will see that we're going to get it before we actually hear it. You're
Now the ball's on the
And
clock.
again, teams 12 on down, Detroit on down. They move up a maximum of
Is this
10
it? Is it?
spots. to
Yeah.
the second overall pick in
Well,
Detroit.
you're gonna see it
San
before we
Jose
hear it.
would retain
Okay.
so just
The
keep that in mind.
first pick. Those 2 spots would be locked.
So you're saying don't react.
Yeah, don't tip the pick.
Okay.
Release the balls
Are we on the air talking?
Yeah, we're on.
and please start.
I didn't know if you'd muted our mic. Or we're just hearing Don Bucci.
Thomas, please start the clock.
That was Gary Bettman.
So Thomas Meany starts the 30-second clock. His back is toward us, so he's not looking at the balls and the numbers floating around. And he'll just let us know when it hits 0, and the first ball will come up the chute, and we'll begin that process. Again, the percentage to win the draw, it begins with San Jose. They currently have the highest percentage, and we can update the percentage chances of your favorite team as each ball comes up. And again, you can follow along on NHL.com.
Draw.
Here comes ball number 1.
And the first ball is number 7.
So lucky number 7. How does that affect the percentage to win the draw? Here we go. So San Jose, you actually move up. Your percentage has increased. Chicago goes down. That was a good ball for Philadelphia fans, and so on down the line. The Kraken, good ball for them, not good for Boston.
Thomas, please start the clock.
So 30 more seconds till ball number 2 comes up. Again,
The
we'll
Predators
eventually
after that first ball
have 4
went to
balls
11.9%.
decide
Okay.
who will win the draft
So
lottery.
basically 0.4% is what they
Calgary
improved to.
eliminated after that first draw. So the Flames fans,
You could explain this to
they
me
cannot
1,000
move up
times
their
and I
10
still go,
spots as high as number 6.
sure.
So Calgary eliminated after ball number 1 as we prepare for ball number 2 to come up.
Nash has rubbed the rabbit's
Ball number
foot.
2,
Willie has rubbed the rabbit's foot.
Ball number 2 is 11.
11.
Nashville has just
7
gone down to
and
9.1%
Ugh.
What
after
does
that
this do
second ball.
to the percentage? Wow, look at this. Everyone below the red line is out. So those teams cannot move up to 10 spots. Again, San Jose's looking good. Flyer fans up to 10-6. Seattle creeps up again to 10-6.
Thomas, please start the clock.
So ball number 3, and after this ball comes up, we'll be able to tell
Remember,
you
it's a 4-ball
what teams are
combination
with a chance to
that you're
win
looking for. This is the
draft
third of
lottery
the 4.
first, and what ball number that you need to win the lottery. As the GMs look on here, wondering if they're going to be the team to get one of those top 3 players Sam Costantino just talked to. Kind of a draft almost based a little bit on need at the top. It's so close.
Draw.
Ball number 3.
We're out.
Ball number 3 is 12.
So 12, 7, 11, and now 12. What does that do? Okay, Nashville, you are out. Bruins fans out. Ducks
So
and
Nashville has
Rangers.
no chance
Look at the
now at the
Chicago
first pick.
Blackhawks,
We
the
know
Islanders,
they will not have the first
Penguins,
pick.
And the Flyers.
They will
all
draw
even
for
at
the second pick.
18.2%.
After this is over, we're going
Wow.
to find out who
So
the
that is
first pick is, and then there will be a
17
second
are still
draw, and we'll
eligible
find out where
to
Nashville
win
slots
this year's
after that.
So
NHL.
I'm going to be honest. Hal and I think, are on the same boat trying to follow this and how this works.
Well, I've studied it to a degree, but remember, I got a C- in probability
Yeah.
and statistics at
Yeah.
Vanderbilt in the one class that I took.
So this is going to be one of those things.
So they have not completed this right now.
No, not
so we're
yet.
not going to find out. I thought we were going to find out.
Well, no, here we go.
There we go.
It's still we're a commercial, still bouncing.
They're trying to some sponsorship placement here by ESPN. So we have 3 minutes until we find out.
Okay, well, I tell you what.
So we'll give you quickly what's going to happen here.
Okay.
They're going to draw the fourth ping pong ball. That will determine who gets the first pick. Then there will be a second grouping, and you will determine who gets the second pick. And after that,
third and
well, no, after that, that's it. Then
Okay.
then you can't drop more than 2. So Nashville, if they don't do well in the second drawing, will drop to 4th or 5th. But that would be the most
they
that
can't
they
do
can drop.
worse than 5th.
Right, and some of it will be affected by who wins the first pick. Right now, there's still a very good chance that either Chicago or San Jose gets the first pick. And if that's the case, then that will affect what Nashville's chances are. It's staying at 3, moving up to 2, or going to 4 or 5. But remember, they can't go below 5.
Well, here's hoping it's 2,
But they're out
3,
of the 1 hole.
or 4. Yes. So if you're just joining us, they're the first pick. The Preds are out on that. So ESPN's in commercial. We'll still see. We still don't know who has the first pick. So I tell you what, David, I know we got to step away for a second. Let's do that real quick, and then we'll come back and update everybody.
Still watching the balls.
We're still watching them. You're listening to a Smashville Live Draft Lottery Special. We're live today at Brewhouse South in Cool Springs. Chase McCabe, Willie Donna, Cal Gill, 102.5, 106.3 The Game. Chase McCabe, Willie Donna, Cal Gill with you.
Oh, my goodness.
And the New York Islanders have won the draft lottery and the number 1 overall pick in this year's NHL draft.
Conspiracy.
That's why it's a lottery. So they were 10th They were 10th.
They were 10th.
And moved up to first.
That's the most you can possibly move up.
And that is why you don't tank.
That's truly the winner of winning the lottery.
Yeah. That is why you don't
Okay,
tank there.
Can I
people.
just say, I'm going to say what every Preds fan in the world is thinking. I hate this stupid system. Like,
well,
I mean,
a couple years ago, with the
now, I
Predators
might
were
like
one
it
of those.
again,
The
but-
Predators were one of those teams where they didn't used to do this live, but if they were doing it live 2 years ago, John Hines' last year, apparently after 3 ping pong balls, they were still in the running for the first pick. They just didn't win it on the fourth one, and obviously it was Chicago that won it. So this is what you get. But you made the point, Hal. The reason they do this is to keep teams from tanking.
Yeah, I mean that's the bottom line. Is if you just throw out a bad lineup and
Intentionally.
and just lose and roll over, you'd think, okay, perfect. We'll get the best player coming out, and they don't want that. And I agree with that. But it's it's disappointing when you have an off season and you're looking at going, you could fall quick.
Yes. So let's let people know what's happening now. They're into the second draw. So this means with the Islanders winning, it has increased the chances that the Predators not only won't have the first pick, but they'll move down to 4 or 5. The Predators do have a chance for the second pick, and they're drawing the 4 ping pong balls now. Right now on ESPN, they're interviewing Ken Morrell, the former great defenseman he was on, of course, the Miracle on Ice team, correct? In 1980, and then the Islanders for their 4 Stanley Cups. So we're paying attention. We want to see if the Predators hang in the mix for the second pick here.
1-5 have been drawn.
Right.
I don't know what that means.
None of us know any of what this means, but it's a combination of 4 numbers. The Predators have an 11+% chance of the second pick, but now with the Islanders bumping everybody down, there's a good chance that the Predators will be picking 4th or 5th. Remember, they can't drop below 5th.
Do something, Trotzy. Get in there. Get on the forecheck. Change this around.
All right, 12.
It's got to be heart-wrenching for these, owners, GMs. A GM is just looking at it going, give me a break. Just give me that. This could be the one player that I could turn things around with, and they're just sitting watching a ping pong ball.
So if the last
decide
number,
their fate.
If the last number is 3, would that be good for the Predators?
No idea.
Okay.
No.
We have no idea.
I don't know what
I don't
the
think
numbers
there's
mean.
there's
the
no correlation.
combination
It's just
of
a
the 4.
combination of the numbers that.
So this is for the second. So so they're still in the mix for the second pick. 18% chance of getting the second pick, according to the 3 balls that have happened so far. So the 4th ping pong ball is going to determine it. Boston still in the mix. Chicago, San Jose, Utah, and Calgary still in the mix for the second pick. Okay, so the Predators need a 4 or a 13 to get the second pick. They've just revealed that.
18% chance. And these are the balls each team needs. You see San Jose's in good shape, either 2, 6, 8, or 11, and they only fall from 1 to 2. Nashville's got 2 with 4 and 13, and Boston has 2, 7 and 14. One chance for Chicago with 10, or suddenly they see themselves slipping down the board as well. So one more ball, Mr. Commissioner.
Thomas, please start the clock.
So we need Ryan Ellis.
We're getting a lot of good vibes here at
We
Brewhouse.
need Nick Spalding. Spalding. Yep. We need the yak one more time.
This summer. Now we will determine who has the second overall pick.
So we're looking for 4
4
or
or
13,
13.
and we get
Upper Deck NHL
What is it?
draft held June 27th in Los Angeles. And here it comes.
So
What number
who
will
wins
it be for the second overall pick?
Number 3.
Wow! So to get the official tabulation from Scott Clark of Ernst & Young, but you talk about 2 Hail Marys that were answered tonight. You talk about the Islanders from center ice. Looks like this team went from about 200 feet, Bill Daly.
The winner of the second draw of the 2025 draft lottery, and now the fourth overall selection in the 2025 NHL Upper Deck entry
Utah
draft belongs to the Utah Hockey Club.
Wow. The stories in Utah.
So Utah moves up to 4. They maximized how high they could jump up. You can only move up 10 spots.
Right.
So they went from 14 to 4. So that bumps San Jose to 2. And I think, if I've got this right,
Preds will get 5.
Preds will get 5. Chicago will get 3 because you.
Well, they have Utah listed as 4.
Right. They don't have anything else listed right now.
Because Utah get the 4 spot, that means that San Jose gets the second spot.
Right.
So
Right.
3 is still on the table
No, I think we'll.
between Chicago. No?
So do they do a third draw?
I didn't think so. I thought you only draw for the first 2.
And now we go to commercial, so we don't know.
Yeah. I think.
We need a good
I think the
ballologist.
Blackhawks. We do.
There, I mean, I'm getting texts from people. Our text line is melting down. It's the end of the world. Just
So I think.
I mean, he's still going to
But
get
I
a top
think they
5
dropped
pick.
to 5, right?
The question is, because you know this is going to come up, is all right if they're 5. Let's just say they're 5. Can Barry Trotz use some of the draft capital that he has to maybe get somebody to dance and work?
And
up
is
the
it
deal?
worth it to do that?
And is it worth right?
And I would say probably not. But
Or do you parlay all the picks that he does, that they do have, to make something else happen?
Yeah.
Well, keep in mind
They're in
they
a
have
good spot.
They have 3 first-round picks. We don't know where the other 2. We know that Tampa's pick will be in the top 24 because Tampa's been eliminated. Vegas is still playing, so that will guarantee that pick is a little lower. We don't know where they'll slot, but I think you have to pick the top 5 pick. But the
Sure.
other 2 guys, the other 2 first-round picks, I think you could package with some other things
That's right.
to get somebody who's an immediate help. But that, I mean,
Yeah,
that's one
and
angle. to take.
those are what do you use for, an offer sheet is you're going to have to give up good picks to get
Right.
a young good player, and that might be a good fit.
Yep, and those are future draft picks that you'd be giving up.
And you're also
do it
not
this
taking the game. It's less of a gamble, right? You know what this player is all about, and you can say, okay, maybe we miss on 3 draft picks, but we give those up and we get a good player. on an
Okay, I'm
offer
being
sheet.
told by
Smart people.
smarter than me, that there will be a draw for the 3rd spot.
Okay,
so
so
Nashville is still in the running to hold at 3.
Okay. All right. So we will.
And
Which
we have
in the
other
end
people
is
that I
where
know they're
we
saying
should be, which
this whole
makes
thing is
sense.
dumb.
So, hey, let's all believe in, hey, everything's going to work out the way it should be. And we're
Right.
the 3rd spot. We should get the 3rd pick.
Yeah.
Look, I'd take that all day long. I would be fine with it because based on, the experts, and I don't pretend to be an expert on these prospects, but based on that, you're looking at maybe a Michael Misa, a James Higgins, Jake O'Brien, Porter Mertone. You're looking at a center or a right winger there.
Right.
Based on
You're missing out on the D. Schaefer is it looks like he's the guy.
Yeah.
Now,
in this draft.
let's see how this plays
do the
out.
Islanders think he's
Do
the
the
guy?
Islanders think he's the guy? That's
Right.
the real question. Is because these guys are. There's no clear Connor Bedard or Connor McDavid. Can we switch? Are these switchable?
Right.
And maybe a team does want it, and they say, "Hey, we're going to make a trade and let you take him because we have no need for him right now."
The last time the Predators picked in the top 5, they picked 4th. And when they learned they had the 4th pick, almost
Nashville.
everybody thought. Did they do it?
They just did it. So Chicago gets 3, Nashville at 5. So I guess if they did the draw, they did it during the break.
And that's as bad as it gets.
So they didn't even give us a chance to get positive vibes or anything.
So there you go. Nashville will pick 5th in this year's draft. Not even a Seth Jones at 4.
Well, but remember that draft, leading up to the draft, most people thought Seth Jones would be the first pick.
Right.
And everybody also had
And
Alexander,
the Preds were blown away.
That Seth Jones was still sitting there at 4. So
they already had a great defenseman and number 75. And then this kid pops up and we have to let this 75 go, and we don't want to do that, but we got to because of Seth Jones.
Yeah.
That changed the life of Hal Gill.
Hey, but you came
so
back
it's all
and
fate.
joined us.
Right. So everything
And here
worked
I
out.
am.
Everything worked out the way it was supposed to work out. So I think that's the vibe
Like a
we have
bad
to take
rash,
out
I
of it.
just
So-
keep coming back.
So that was the worst case scenario for the Predators, was to slip to 5th, at least for number purposes. Now you have to hope that you can get a really good player at 5. So the lottery is finished. Islanders 1, Sharks 2, Blackhawks 3, the Utah Hockey Club 4.
Mammoth. Is that what they were?
Well,
Mammoth.
not officially, but unofficially, that's the leak. That's the rumor. That's the Mammoth.
The Thieves. That's what we're going to call them. Utah Thieves, because they stole the pick.
Yeah. And the Predators officially have the 5th pick.
Yes. So
which will be the 3rd highest pick they've ever had.
Yeah. Second with Legwand in the expansion year, and then 4th with Seth Jones. So we will step away for a second, come back, react to this, and also hope to hear from Barry Trotz at some point before we get out of here. It's Chase McCabe, Willie Donick, Hal Gill live at Brewhouse South in Cool Springs, a special edition of Smashville Live. Draft Lottery, Preds pick 5th. We react next, 102.5, 106.3 The Game.
top guys in the Athletic.
It's a special edition of Smashville Live at Brewhouse South in Cool Springs. Chase McCabe, Willie Donick, and Hal Gill here with you. And yes, to quote former Titans general manager Rand Carthon, the ball just didn't bounce our way. And the Predators will pick fifth. He's never going to live that down.
Nope.
The Predators will pick fifth in the NHL lottery this June. And you can weigh in, 615-737-1025, our phone and text line driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com. Cody says, yep, we're screwed. Joel said Islanders in Utah were long shots and beat us out. Wow. They need to scrap the ping pong ball system.
Yeah, when it doesn't work your way, let's
blame
get
the
rid of
system.
it.
Yeah.
There's a
Yeah.
lot of doom and gloom right now. But here's the deal. I mean, you can still get a good player at the 5th overall pick. I mean, right now, I have the 2025 NFL draft prospects rankings according to NHL.com. I mean, you got
Chase, who is the best Predator of all time? Who would you say?
There's a statue of him.
Pecorino.
Pecorine. Where did he go? He must have been.
He was in a-
third. No,
Yeah, he was in a round that doesn't exist anymore.
exactly.
Yeah. So,
So,
I mean, look, you can get good
guys,
players.
settle
Shea
down.
Weber was the second round.
Settle down.
What round were you drafted?
I was in the 8th round.
It
we
doesn't
don't
exist
have that
anymore.
anymore.
We
But
don't
you were
have
pretty
it
damn
anymore.
good.
When your best player for your organization doesn't have a round anymore, it's going to be okay.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean,
they're
what
good
was
players.
Yossi?
Of
And
course,
I would venture
everyone
to say-
wants the best player you can get, but you don't know what these kids are going to end up like, and so we are what we are. It is what it is.
Well, let's go back to 2013, which is the last time the Predators had a top 5 pick, and let's go through the 5. Nathan McKinnon, and this was a loaded draft.
Yes.
This is considered one of the most bountiful drafts
That was built
of
different.
all time.
Yeah,
And this draft does not appear to be like that, at least by
Barkov,
the scouts.
right?
So number 1 was Nathan McKinnon, which was a surprise to a lot because a lot of people thought with Seth Jones's ties to Denver, he grew up, he watched
Yep.
the Avalanche play. His dad was coaching there for the basketball, that they would take Jones. They didn't. They took Nathan McKinnon, which has proven to be a great franchise player.
Yeah.
The second pick, Florida had. They surprised everybody too. Most of the mocks did not have them going this way, but they took Alexander Barkov.
Yep.
Another great pick. The third pick belonged to Tampa. Do you remember who they took? Tampa had the third pick. Nashville had the fourth pick.
I don't remember.
Do you remember, Chase?
No.
He's still playing in the league.
No.
Third overall pick in one of the most bountiful drafts of all time.
So 03?
Yep. No, 2013.
I know that. I know
2013?
this too, and I'm blanking
You got,
because it doesn't really matter, guys. It doesn't.
Yeah, I know who you're talking about now.
he now plays with Nathan
He
McKinnon.
wore skates. He's carried a stick.
And he never made a dent for Tampa.
No. It is on the tip of my tongue. I know who you're
I
talking
will
about.
just tell you,
Just tell me.
Jonathan Drouin.
Druin. Yep.
Oh, God, that's right.
So he was the
I mean,
third
he's
pick.
bounced around quite a bit.
Seth Jones, the Predators took with the fourth pick. The fifth pick was Val Nichushkin also. So it's interesting. The Avalanche have 3 of the top 5 picks of the 2013 draft. Nichushkin has been a really troubled guy
Yeah.
who didn't hit early, then went back to Russia, and then came back. And when he's on, he's really, really good.
He's something special.
But
yeah.
to your point, Hal, the third and the fifth picks were kind of, okay, NHL players, good players, not great players. But then later in that draft, there were some other outstanding players that were taken. And so the difference between picks 3, 4, and 5 is probably a little bit random. There appear to be most consensus that Schaefer and Michael Misa are the top
they
2.
seem to be the top 2. Yeah.
So I don't think either one of those guys will be there. Then after that, I think there's a lot of randomness of who would be amongst the 3, 4, 5. if you watch the World Juniors, this kid James Hagans, I know you follow college hockey. He was also a dynamic player for the World Junior gold medal team for Team USA. Hagans plays on the same college team as
he was
Teddy Stiga, right, for Boston College. So that would be a name to keep in mind that could be there at 5.
Right. There's a lot of ways this goes, but remember, these are 18-year-olds.
Right. So there's a lot of directions a pathway can go from age 18 to 21,
and
22.
I don't think any one of these guys are generational talents.
It does not appear that way.
But I mean, your hope. It's hope. That's what it is.
I know.
You hope to get a really good player, though.
Yeah, but I just don't think it's the end of the world. So Preds fans,
to get fit? Yeah, that's
Preds
what I'm
fans,
saying.
it's okay.
Well, here's my favorite. Like, there's a Matt on our text line that's just melting down, just crashing out right now. People that are like, "Oh, this franchise, like, what are they doing?" They had no control. The only control they had was the third worst record in the league this year. They had no control on the way the ping pong ball was going to bounce.
I blame Craig Baugh.
You can't do that. Don't blame partner. Don't blame partner.
Did it.
Partner's just partner. What is probably going to crush a pizza somewhere.
Not good, bro. Not good.
If you're into this stuff and you want to start getting familiar with the names, The Athletic, I think, does a really good job of kind of setting the table, and it will probably change between now and the actual night that they draft.
And if you really want to get into it, go talk to the scouts. I just had sadly the funeral for Ray Shiro and his celebration of life, and there's so many people there, so many scouts and GMs and big heavy hitters in hockey, and I was asking around, just talking about it, and everyone had something good to say about someone else, and so it's all these players, as much as we want them, every team is going to have a different look. It's similar, like Seth Jones. We just talked about it. We thought he'd go first, and then boom, he pops up at 4th, and you don't know how it's going to play out.
The 2003 draft, which was held in Nashville way back when, is another draft that's considered one of the greatest of all time. It was in Nashville. The Predators had, I think, the 7th pick that year.
That was Suter.
That was Ryan Suter,
who's still playing.
Marc-Andre Fleury was the 1st pick. He's just finished up his career. So.
No. He's going World Championships now.
Oh, he's still playing.
Yeah.
Okay, so he's still playing.
Not so fast.
He's finished his NHL career.
He's going back with Sid to play in the World Championship.
And then you go down the list. We mentioned Shea Weber, Hall of Famer, was dropped to the 2nd round of that draft. But then you can look in the top 5. Nathan Horton, guys who picked right before Suter. Nathan Horton, kind of a up and down career, had a lot of concussions, was good.
Yeah.
Nikolai Zherdev, who barely ever made a dent, was Columbus's pick. I think he was 4th overall.
Yeah.
So in a draft where almost you couldn't go wrong, some teams still went wrong in the top 5.
Well, and
so
everyone failed for Nail.
Failed for Nail. That was a few years after that. Nail Yakupov, 1st overall pick for the Oilers, failed miserably.
Yeah, it just Nail failed.
This is not a surefire. This is not a surefire draft.
No, it is.
And even the surefire drafts aren't so surefire.
Have surprises.
I have been asked on Twitter by my friend Phil, Chase, can you crush a pizza from the Sauce Pizza Kitchen at Brewhouse South in honor of the Predators' crushed hopes and dreams in the draft lottery?
He'll do that for you.
Hey, we'll get on that. I'll get Hal to help me. So if you're just joining us, the Predators will pick 5th in the draft. That's where the ping pong ball bounced. We will continue to break that down in our last segment. Chase McCabe, Willie Donick, and Hal Gill with you here at Brewhouse South in Cool Springs. It is a special
looking good
edition
looking
of
good,
Smashville
buddy.
Live. I'm trying. Here on 102.5, 106.3 The Game. It is a special draft lottery edition of Smashville Live. Our thanks to Brewhouse South and Cool Springs for having us here tonight. Chase McCabe alongside Willie Donick and Hal Gill. That's your cue, fellas. As we wrap things up, the Predators will pick 5th overall. We'll have a lot of time to break down these prospects, but this is step one in the offseason plan that Barry Trotz talked about today that they now have officially got in. We know Andrew Brunette will be back as the head coach, but we also know there will be some changes, whatever that is. If that's players, if that's system, if that's assistant coaches, that will come in time. But now at least they know where they're going to pick. That can help steer the ship.
Yeah, and I think there's so many decisions to be made and so many ways that Trotzy can go and with everything. And so I think this is a huge summer for the Preds, for the whole organization. You know, they're building. Bridgestone is getting a revamp, and they're building that up. And you know, it's the same thing with the team.
Hal, let me ask you something that you would be able to answer that I've been asked a lot on our radio show on DVD this afternoon. I was on George Placer's show today, and it's hard to help the casual fan understand this, but there was a lot of talk on how you want to play with this group of players versus how Andrew Brunette would ideally like to play, because that was at the center of what was talked about today as to when they did the autopsy of what went wrong.
Right.
It didn't seem like the way that Andrew Brunette had it humming last year with a different group of players did not jive, especially with the new players this year. So let's start with so the tweaks to the system. They're going to spend a ton of. They probably already have discussed it a lot. But how do you? What's the answer in your mind?
Well, it's interesting because Barry Trotz coached with a very different system.
Yes,
Barry Trotz. We saw it for years with the Preds hardcore, lock it down. You know, early years, not a lot of talent there. So it was just defend hard in front of the net, push everything to the outside, keep it to the outside, get the puck in, work the forecheck, do the best you can to try to create mayhem on the forecheck. Brunette comes in. Brunette, the first thing he said is, we want to play with the puck. If we don't have the puck, we're going to attack and get the puck. And so when you do that, you're not packing it in. You're putting pressure on the puck, whether it's a forward and a D and another forward and a D. You're attacking all over the ice, and you're not playing necessarily a defensive posture. You're attacking the puck and trying to get it back. And when you do get it, you're pushing the pace and you're moving it up quickly. The adjustments that I found that they made as the season went on were at times pack it in. Let's defend the middle of the ice. Let's keep it to the outside. And I thought they played a handful of games where they were successful doing that, but they didn't generate offense out of it. And those were the times where they didn't get stops quickly. They didn't give up much. They kept everything to the outside, but they didn't get the puck and they weren't able to attack. The other adjustment is allowing D to D in the neutral zone where they hey, let's come back. We'll go D to D. We'll build up some speed and we'll attack together. But that wasn't Bruno's original system of move it up and anticipate it and win a battle up the boards, win another battle up the boards, and now everyone's going with speed. It was a different take, and there's different tweaks as the season went along. But every time there was one tweak, something else in the game suffered. You know, we're better defensively, but now we can't score goals. We're scoring goals now because we're being more aggressive, but we're giving up way too many odd man rushes. Odd man rushes became a big impact on the game against. And so, you have to figure out what are all those tweaks and how can you put it to get a full 5-on-5 game where you're good on both ends of the ice.
Why was it so hard to play the same system that was so successful last year? I'm sure that's at the
because it takes a while
for new guys
to learn that.
But they made that transition last year so well. Like if I'm Andrew Brunette and I'm arguing the way we play will work if everybody is on the same page. Why was it so hard for this group to grasp that?
I think because you have to have a commitment from 5 guys to do it. If you pull the puck back and go D to D and bring it back, everyone can do that. Everyone can see that the play is developing.
Every type of player?
Every type of player can do that, I believe. Now, Steven Stamkos is going to do that better because he can pick up speed and attack, and he's more of an impact player when he's got speed. And so he's going to be better at it, but everyone knows where to go and what to do. Now you're just looking at who is the best players to do it. Whereas Bruno's system, when you go, everyone needs to be going at the same time, and you need to win those battles, and you need to put it in spots where you can win another battle. And that becomes a little more challenging to get everyone to think the game as fast as Bruno wants.
So with all that said, knowing that these guys like Marchessault and Stamkos and Shea, everybody's got another year under their belt going into this season. How can they adjust to learn this system better? But also, how can Bruno adjust to his players? Because I think the best coaches will take their system, but they'll also adjust to the players.
That's where the conversation has to come before the season starts, before preseason starts. You need to talk to guys, and Bruno's got to do his work in the summer to say, hey, if we play this way, can you commit to it?
Yeah.
If we do this, and hey, Barry Trotz had to do that when he was a coach. He had to go after Ovechkin in the summer and say, can you play this way? They ended up winning a cup because he got a buy-in.
Right.
So I think that's what Bruno has to do is, okay, I'll adapt my system. Does this work for you? And when the player says, yes, coach, I think I like that. If Marchessault, okay, is this something you can work with? Then they get the buy-in. Now it's on them.
So is it fair to say the buy-in is more important than the actual X's and O's?
I absolutely, 100%.
You have to be willing to do it.
You have to be willing to commit to it. And then, okay, we're doing it this way. And the players know, right? You didn't do it this way. It didn't work because it's on you. You said you were going to agree to it. Now, if you're not going to agree to it and you really don't get the buy-in, then you got to move on. Like that's when you have to let a guy go. Is like if you're not going to buy in, and that's why trades happen. Is because not because he's a bad player, just didn't want to buy into what we were doing. And I think once everyone gets that buy-in, and that's the tricky spot, is you got different players that need to come together, and that's how winning is done. Is everyone doing the same thing and committed to it?
Okay, and Chase, so you were listening to the whole press conference where they went back and forth on this, but do you feel like that the same coach can go back to the same group of players and make that compromise and get the buy-in?
Every player I've talked to likes Bruno. They like Bruno. They like playing for Bruno. They like his mentality and the way he treats the players. He's a player's coach. He's been there. He's seen it. He's done it. They appreciate that, and he gave them all the leeway in the world. He let them go through the struggles, and I think they respect him for that. Now the question is, okay, you respect, but can we be successful together? That's the bottom line. You can appreciate someone and work. Hey, I like what you do, and you like what I do. But if you don't win, who cares?
Real quick, I asked Barry Trotz today about, do you feel that you need to help a little bit more in some of these adjustments because of all your years as a coach? I'm not saying for him to coach from above, because he said nobody likes being coached from above. But do you think that maybe Barry has tried to stay out of that a little too much, and that especially with playing defense like we know that the Predators need to play, that he could lend Bruno an extra hand of, hey, here's what I'm seeing, do what you will with this?
Hockey players, and I will tell you I'm the first one to say it, hockey players are built on feedback. If you play a game and you self-evaluate, you give yourself feedback, and then you like the next day you get there's a coach in your ear giving you feedback. Whether you like it or not, there's feedback. And I think Bruno, why wouldn't he want a great coach like Barry Trotz to talk to him and say, I like this. What if you tried something like this? Now you can't, Barry Trotz can't go, you need to do this or you're gone.
Right.
Because then now Bruno doesn't even have buy-in in what he's doing because he doesn't think it's right. And that's where Trotz and Bruno have to have that conversation where they say, okay, this is the way I want to coach. You have to let me do that. But it doesn't mean he can't give input. I think that would be stupid. If I'm a coach, I want to hear what Barry Trotz has to say.
And is it fair to say, you mentioned Barry Trotz's background is a defensive, great defense. Andrew Brunette, much more innovation, the best way to defend is to have the puck.
Yeah.
That way you don't have to defend.
Exactly.
But defending when you have to defend is really important. And this team, clearly, that was a problem. Barry Trotz mentioned that today. So this team has to defend better to be better.
A defense, hey, if you're pushing a team on their heels because your offense is so good, then you're driving. Your defense is playing less because you're so great offensively. That wasn't the case. I think early in the season, they had an offensive drive. They just weren't scoring goals. And now you got to work it out where you find that happy medium where you're playing in the middle, where you're defending well, and you're creating some scoring chances.
We got a long off season to talk about this stuff, unfortunately, but we'll see how it goes. Hal, appreciate you. Willie,
I apologize,
you.
guys. That might have been on me. I messed that up. I should have gotten those balls out sooner.
Blame Skillsy for the 5th pick.
Yeah. Thank you, Hal.
But it's going to be okay. I'm going to tell you, Chase, it's going to be okay.
It's Willie, okay.
We're going to be okay.
Max is listening on a plane. It's going to be okay.
We're going to be okay.
We're going to be fine.
Hang in there, guys.
For Hal Gill,
Lucky
for
number
Willie
5.
Donick, I'm Chase McCabe. Predators will pick 5th in the NHL draft. We'll have full reaction tomorrow starting at 6 a.m. with Robbie and Rex Road all through the day. Thanks so much to Brewhouse South for having us here on 102.5, 106.3 The Game.